Welcome. I'm Bev Adams. I own an independent paper crafting business showcasing products from Stampin' Up. I made this beautiful card with products from Stampin' Up. I sell these products and also a few items to make crafting more convenient. I have the free detailed directions for this project on my website, and you'll be able to just click the links for the products that you would like to be taken to my online store at Stampin' Up. You'll see where to find all of that at the end of this video, so don't worry about taking notes. It's time to put stamps, ink, and paper together. Last week's card was also a quick card, and this one is a very quick card, I think you'll see. True confessions, the reasons why I'm making quick cards is because I have the upcoming annual catalog. This goes live May 4th. I wish I could show you the inside of this catalog. It is gorgeous. If you are one of my regular customers, I've already ordered one of these to be sent to you. If you would like a catalog, just email me and I'll tell you how you can get it. And I have been busy going through every product in this catalog, collecting all the data of the page numbers and the item numbers and the prices for US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, UK, Germany, France, all of that information that I use for my labels and my case inserts and my Evernote notebook. Those are some of those items that I mentioned to make crafting more convenient. So I have been using all my time on that, and so I wanted to make quick cards. I used many messages, and the messages die, and I think that that's probably the star of today's show. You could make this quick card with any image stamp, any designer series paper that has a subtle background like this one. This paper is from the World of Good designer series paper, just gorgeous. And so I thought that this one fit the bill, and I'm using it with Nature's Beauty. I have already shared my card bases and layers. I've cut down my heavy-duty recloseable bags and made little pouches for my cardstock. I have one for each color. Most of my layers are 4 by 5 1/4, and you'll see that I use those all the time. And then I also use layers that are 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. A few that are a little bit smaller that are 2 1/2 by 4. If I'm running low on card bases and layers, I will put a full sheet at 4 1/4, score it, turn it, and cut it at 5 1/2. And that gives me 2 card bases. I'll use one for today and put one in my pouch for another day. Then I'll cut at 5 1/4 and by 4. And I'll cut 2 of those. I have a little 1/2-inch strip that I could save if I wanted to. And then this piece should be 5 1/2. Another very thin strip. And then so that this is 8 1/2. I cut this at 4 1/4. This is 5 1/2, and I cut this at 2 3/4. So that gives me 4 of the smaller layers. And so I'm all set for several cards. So I have my card base and my layers, which I just grabbed. I have my designer series paper, which is 3 3/4 by 5. I don't think I mentioned that my inks are Versamark and Early Espresso and the white chalk marker. This is wonderful ribbon. It's faux suede I will be using some dimensionals and the white embossing powder, my heat tool. So I'm going to just stamp my deer right on the Designer Series paper, about there. And I'm going to give this a little bit of chance to dry. For my grading, I am going to use the early espresso cardstock. This is 5.5, so it's a half a sheet of cardstock. And this is 7 because that's basically the size of my Stamparatus. And I'm going to put my cardstock here. And I'm putting it all the way over on the side so that I can put my magnet here. Before I go any further, I want to be sure to use, this is my embossing buddy, which Stampin' Up! Used to sell. I rarely keep retired products, but this is one that I will not get rid of. That reduces the static of having the embossing powder sticking where I don't want it. I am inking up my stamp. This is one large stamp. And so I'm going to press it down. I have another gadget that my friend Gidget made. And I don't know if she's going to be selling them widely, but if she does, I will be letting you know. It helps give even pressure all over. I'm pulling in a scrap of paper and I'm dusting this with embossing powder. And you can be pretty generous with this. And then flick it off. And I think I got good coverage on my whole stamp. Put the remaining embossing powder back in. And then I'm going to heat this up. Heat embossing is one of those things that I continue to think of as magical. My heat tool was cold, and as it heats up, it will start melting the embossing powder. And it spreads out and becomes a more solid line. And it gets shiny and ever so slightly raised. And you want to be sure to check all over that it's all embossed, that there's no powder, because if you have powder just on the, if you have any powder that is not melted in, it will just brush off, and you don't want that to happen to your card. I've got my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I'm using platform 1, plate 2 for the die cutting plate, a messy cut up plate 3, then I'm putting down my cardstock and my die. And I have found, so it's got these little hearts and stars. I don't know if Stampin' Up! Did that on purpose, but I found that those are great for positioning. There's kind of one on each part of the design. And so you get those as centered as you can. And I've got a little bit of washi tape. And that's one die that cuts all of those messages out at once. My neighbor's gardener is out there. I hope he can still hear me. But these messages have birthday, hello, sympathy, thank you, just hi there, congratulations. So I've got them all cut out at once. Now, I wish I had a clever little container that held these perfectly. I don't really. In the meantime, I'm sorting them into an old-fashioned ice cube tray. And so maybe I'll use this one for today's card, a thank you card, but I just sort them all in here so that I will be ready. I have some that are in very vanilla, some in basic white, some stamped in black or early espresso. I have some that I've already embossed in the early espresso, but maybe you want this shape and you want this one in a different color. So let me show you the secret to that, because maybe it's 3 months down the road. You want to stamp this message. So you want to save this frame. This is the important part. Then you want a piece of paper in your stamparatus. This is not dependent on having this in the same place. You can just set it down in about that same general position and pick it up. I've cleaned my stamp and maybe I want a totally different color. Let's go with Just Jade. So you're going to ink up your stamp with Just Jade, and I could have just inked that one spot for that one stamp, and honestly I don't care about positioning here. It's positioning this at just the right place and positioning those stars, centering as best I can, matching my blank label into this puzzle piece. And now I just need to ink this one and stamp it. And now I've got that particular label ready to go. Okay, back to today's card. My deer is dry, and I probably should have done this in the winter time. Some of you are still experiencing snow on the ground. I'm in California, so we really never have snow on the ground. I could make this a grassy ground if I wanted to, but I wanted to keep it to one color. So I'm just adding a little ground there, and I'm wrapping some ribbon around. I want to put some adhesive about where I want the ribbon, which is about an inch or so down. So this is 4 inches, so I need maybe 5, maybe 6 inches. I'll go ahead and put this layer on my card front. And then this is kind of a sneaky way of tying a beautiful knot. I'm just going to wrap a piece of ribbon around here. It would probably be about 3 inches or so. And if you pull one tight, it will be beautiful. It's going to lay flat. So that's really beautiful. Then I can put my greeting either here like I did on my sample, or maybe down here. I think I'll do it down here this time. And a very quick card. You can see that I re-inked my stamp pad and it was due, but either way, it looks beautiful. Here is the web address for this project, where you'll find the free detailed directions and links for the products I used. Just click the links and you'll be taken to my online store at Stampin' Up! Also on my website, you'll find a shop button. Under shop, you'll find products from Bev, shopping strategies, frequent shopper points, a link to my online store at Stampin' Up!, When you click Products from Bev, you'll find information about sharing my current products notebook in Evernote and taggers. I started making taggers when all of those layering shapes came out, and it was so hard for me to figure out which one I used and how to tell somebody else which one I used. So I made taggers. Each tagger has the name of the dies, the item number, how many in the set, and each tagger has the size of that shape. I also sell my cardstock sampler, fine tip glue pen replacement tips, and large and small recloseable bags that I use for designer series paper, both the 6x6 and the 12x12. And I have a link for my friend's bow maker. Under inspiration, you can scroll my projects, look at the latest post, find out about the basics, which I've designed especially for new stampers, and techie tips. Under getting organized, you'll find links to stamp case slips, product labels, large labels, case inserts, ink refill cases, lots of coloring tools, a stamp pad storage solution for practically no money, catalog tabs, a quick reference, and a wish list with the catalog index, directions for my basic toolkit to go and my compact desktop toolbox. I have so many people looking for my Evernote current products notebook that I have a new tab just for that. You can find out how to share my searchable catalog. You can go to SIP Together and you can find out how to join my team so that you can either save money or make money. Thank you for stopping by. Talk to you soon.